SCORE Northeast Wisconsin and WHBY are pleased to bring you Biz Talk, a chance for you to hear from entrepreneurs and professionals as they share their experiences. From starting to sustaining growth, learn the skills needed for your business to be successful. If you miss anything, you can catch the Biz Talk podcast at score.org/Northeast Wisconsin. And now from the Myron Construction Studio, it's Biz Talk on WHBY.
Good morning and welcome to Biz Talk. My name is Terry Pinch. I'm one of the co-hosts this week. And joining me as co-host is our pheasant hunter, Mary Rohde.
Good morning, Terry. Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited for our conversation today.
Great. And just to let everybody know, yes, she was out pheasant hunting and from the pictures was very successful.
Yeah, we had a great week in South Dakota. It was awesome.
Yeah, and it wasn't too cold either. So
no, it certainly wasn't. It was very pleasant. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, great. So this week, we're going to be talking to Greg and Leah Brittnacher from Freedom Claims Agency. So as we get started, before we get into the business itself, let's just talk to Greg and Leah. Talk about your background. We'll start with Greg. Tell us how you got to this point.
Yes. So I'm an Air Force veteran, and then post-service, that's when I did some education background, and then from there came across working for the county for the Veteran Service Office, and that's really kind of where my depth of knowledge grew of learning about the VA benefits and what is all out there for us veterans. And at that point is when I was exposed to a VA disability compensation, and that truly became my passion because I feel like that benefit is the most challenging, which I enjoy. And then it also gave me a good way to interact with other veterans and let them share their story. And I'm able to take that story and help them with their claim. And ultimately that was a driving factor for us to kind of pivot and go on our own, because the VA has a big umbrella of benefits, and this one has the most impact, I feel, on the veteran's life, because it provides a monetary benefit, but it opens the door for all other VA benefits. And that's why we launched Freedom Claims Agency.
Okay. And Leah, I guess I should have introduced you as Dr. Brittnacher, because you are a psychologist, I believe. And doctor, can you talk about how you got to this point? What's your background?
So I am a psychologist. So I have a vast knowledge with PTSD, anxiety, and depression. So the nice thing is that for the past 10 years, while Greg has worked for the county, he has always brought home hypothetical questions of, hey, I have a veteran who has this, and this. What do you think? So I've always kind of been spitballing with him and consulting with him through all that time. So once we launched Freedom Claims Agency, it really just made sense for me to transition over and really play more of an active role. So anytime that Greg does get a veteran that is struggling with PTSD, anxiety, depression, we're really coming together to talk about how can we best serve this veteran. I review all the medical records. I will ask follow-up questions. Greg and I will just kind of look through the record together so that we can best support that veteran, overturn those mental health concerns.
Okay. So that must be a bit of a unique offering in this field, to have both the claims assistance, but the psychiatric help as well.
Absolutely. And even to addition to, she's underselling it a little bit, of what she's really great at is when we're having those conversations with the veterans, she's able to take their story, what they're feeling for their symptoms and severity, and Leah is able to help them be able to articulate that to the VA in a way that meets kind of the VA's guidelines and allows them to truly get rated at the symptoms and severity that they have. So that's what, like, she is fabulous at making us that don't like to talk about our feelings. So, and in a way that meets the VA requirements, which is, it's beneficial for the veteran.
Okay. So you've been working with the county, Leah is a psychiatrist. What made you say it's time to start Freedom Claims Agency?
Yes. So what made us that decision? It was one veteran, actually the daughter of a veteran up in the Northwoods in northern Wisconsin. She ran into a veteran that I worked with in the past, and they reached out, and you could just sense that there was some desperation for her dad, to help her dad. So in the evenings and things, I'd work on that case for that veteran, and we helped him with that appeal process and getting him prepared for that. And then some additional things that were missed in his record. Ultimately, between the appeals and new conditions, we were able to get that veteran to 100% service connection. And he been struggling for that appeal was open for like six years, and we were finally able to get him connected and get him rated at 100%. And then obviously with that, he got a substantial back pay, and ultimately changed his life, his family's life. And that's really kind of what sparked us to like, how do we grow our county? And that's what kind of led us to, if we're going to do it, let's try to do it the right way and grow this to advocate for veterans, not only here, we're in Outagamie County now, but throughout the nation.
So I'm just going to go ahead and call you guys a dynamic duo, because I think it's so fitting. And I'm truly just so amazed that you found a gap and you have filled it with both of your own unique skill sets. And that's such, I can see the passion and feel the passion from you guys for what you do. So how did you kind of take that, all of that, and bundle it and really build the foundational values for Freedom Claims Agency?
Well, when a veteran comes, so we only work with veterans who were denied their disability claims, just how the regulations are kind of set up. And so it really, the two of us has really come together that we want to help veterans obtain at least some of their freedom back. And so when a veteran comes to us, we feel we can really give veterans freedom in 3 different ways, which really supports our values. So we give veterans freedom because when they do get service connected for their ailments, there is compensation that comes with it. We give them freedom through healthcare, and so there's a free healthcare that they can obtain with their service connected ailments. But the last one, which to us is honestly the most important, is really that freedom through that validation. And so Greg has said it before, but really helping those veterans to hear their story. Because when a veteran gets denied, it's like going to the doctor and saying, I have headaches, and they say, no, you don't. It is so invalidating for these veterans to say, I have these ailments, this happened to me in service, and the VA ultimately by a denial is saying, no, you aren't. And so then when they come to us, we are here to say, we believe you. Now we just need to help you get enough data and evidence in order to support your claim so that we can, in fact, support you. So really, we want to just empower and advocate for veterans in order for them to obtain at least some of their freedoms back.
So as we talked, is it the complexity of the benefits offered that creates the issues, or is it the kind of the bureaucracy gets set up when you have government programs where there's got to be protection of funding and that type of thing? What drives all these cases?
The biggest thing is there's certain, you have the VA law aspect of it. There's certain elements for service connection that they need to be met. There has to be an injury, event, or disease that happened in service. If we're looking at direct service connection, we need to have a current diagnosis, and then we need a medical nexus. So we have 3 elements that we're looking at that we're trying to get. I should say most veterans, I'm one of them, we don't go to the doctor. So in order for us to have evidence of an injury that occurred in service, yes, those injuries are there, but did we go to sick call or did we just get patched up from our corpsman and given Tylenol or Motrin and drink water and press on? That's pretty much what we were told to do. So we don't have that back and that record of injury. And now it's creating that evidence, and that's where their story comes into play. And it's missed, just because how the VA has it set up. It's very governmental. We have a standardized form, and it's hard to get that story on a standardized form. And that's where I think the issue comes when the VA on the other side's like, well, there's nothing in service treatment records. Yeah, he has a diagnosis, and then the doctor can't establish a nexus to service because there's nothing shown in service. So that's where we can help bridge that gap. And that story matters and helps getting them service connected.
So how do you convince the VA that somebody was really injured during their service?
Yeah, so there's multiple ways that we can go navigate that process. The one I feel like our foundation is their story. How did this injury happen? What were you doing? Where did it occur? Essentially the who, what, when, and where, and why it happened while on active duty, while in service. Start there, and then we can bridge that to, okay, are you still buddies with those that you served with that saw you in that injury? So we can get buddy statements. So that's where like social media helps, just because we're always connected with friends, no matter where we are in the world. We can still reach out to those that we served with. And then the other piece is if they're married, their spouse, they see it as well when they come home from deployments or while they're doing training, et cetera. So they know the injury exists and happened. So you have a bunch of layers that you're trying to just build that evidence out where it makes it credible that this isn't just a one-off, like these things legitimately happen. There may not be treatment records that show up, but these injuries exist, and this is how.
Leah, Greg has been talking about some of the physical issues and how they deal with those. But as a psychologist, how do you bring some of the issues, the mental and thinking issues that people bring into this, that veterans bring into this? How do you build that case?
So many times what I will do is I will look at the medical record. I will look at the CMP exam that is present in front of me. And by reviewing it, many times I find that the evidence is already there. And so in the behavioral health world, we have these sophisticated terms. And so many times the VA raters may or may not be knowledgeable about what these terms all encompass. And so when I review this, if we do work on an appeal, I will help Greg, I will help the veteran in order to be able to effectively communicate how the evidence is already there and really making those links for them. On the other aspect, sometimes I will review with the veteran and follow up with them on certain questions to see, is this ruled in? Is this ruled out? Are you experiencing this? So really just helping those veterans to effectively communicate their symptoms, their functioning, struggles that they are running into.
Okay, so as you put all of this together and you're developing the case for the VA, do you find there's a real benefit to bring these two sides together for the VA? Does it make it more understandable for them as they deal with the claim?
Absolutely, because it's ever encompassing for them. And honestly, the vast majority of the claims that we work with do have some kind of form or aspect of PTSD, anxiety, or depression, unfortunately.
We've reached the point for our first break. You're listening to Biz Talk with SCORE on WHBY, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Welcome back, everyone, to Biz Talk with SCORE here on WHBY, and we are so honored to be joined this morning by our guests, Greg and Leah Brittnacher from Freedom Claims Agency. But before we continue that fascinating conversation, I'd love to tell you a little bit more about SCORE Northeast Wisconsin. SCORE Northeast Wisconsin serves an 18-county region in Northeast Wisconsin, plus the county of Menominee in Michigan. With approximately 25 volunteers, each an expert in their field, SCORE offers entrepreneurs no-cost and confidential mentoring. Those areas of expertise include IT, social media, marketing, cash flow, accounting, strategic planning, HR, best practices, and many others. In order to register for a no-cost confidential mentoring session, and or to learn more about SCORE Northeast Wisconsin, please visit our website at score.org/Northeast Wisconsin. You can learn more about how the SCORE chapter can assist you with starting and or growing your business, and you can complete an application for a mentoring session. Simply complete the online form and submit it to SCORE. Within a few days, a SCORE mentor will be contacting you to set up a meeting. Remember, SCORE is a no-cost and offers experts who can offer you assistance in many different areas. To get started, visit our website at score.org/Northeast Wisconsin. To support small business people, SCORE Northeast Wisconsin is always looking for new mentors. If you have experience that you would like to share with others, we'd love to talk to you. We welcome volunteers with experience in all aspects of business. Small business owners need your help, and your experience can make a real difference to their success. Go to score.org/Northeast Wisconsin, click on the volunteer button, and fill out the short application. We will get back to you to explain more. And now we will return to this episode of Biz Talk with SCORE. And Greg and Leah, if you can explain to us a little bit, what is the National Organization of Veterans Advocacy, or NOVA, and why or how are you involved with it?
Yes. So that organization is a large network of VA accredited claims agents and VA accredited attorneys. So we as a group, we advocate for veterans nationwide, and it's a networking opportunity where we are able to, when we get stuck on cases, we have a resource of a lot of great minds throughout the country that we can propose a question in our forum of how to navigate this issue or this part, and we just can share ideas that way. In addition to that, we do have our continuing learning education requirements that we need to do to keep our accreditation with the VA. So as the organization, we do host those conferences twice a year, and that allows us to, again, continue to build our network within our accredited reps and as advocates, and just grow our knowledge base. So we're continuing to stay on the cutting edge of it is within the VA regulations to making sure we're doing the best for the veterans that we represent.
Yeah, that's wonderful. It definitely has to feel good to know that there's those resources out there for you all as you're growing your business, and certainly trying, as you said, to be on the cutting edge so that you can be most efficient and most helpful to your clients. Are there any other organizations out there that you all are kind of involved with, or just other ways that you've sought out to kind of grow and build your skills to continue to evolve your business?
Yes, I know for me, I'm still not within it, but I still stay in tune with the County Veteran Service Office. They have their association, which they offer conferences for, for our County Veteran Service representatives. So that is a good way where we'll be a resource for them, have resource tables, and then there I get to just interact with what they're doing on the front end of this claims process and give them support that way, and still collaborating. Was in that community for close to 10 years. So it's still good to be able to connect with them and a good wealth of knowledge there. So that just allows me to grow there. Not really it is an organization. I'm also a second year law student. So I go to Mitchell Hamlin School of Law out of St. Paul. We have 4 young kids. So to go in person in the brick and mortar, 20, like Madison or Marquette, that's just going to be too hard for us. So we go there because they have a blended program where I'm, online and in person, and makes it doable. And again, just to continue to grow and be a better advocate with that law degree to better serve the veterans that we represent.
Well, that is an incredibly full plate. So kudos to you guys. Leah, just in your psychologist role with the organization, are there any kind of additional learning things that you've tapped into as well, as I'm sure your field continues to evolve as well?
Absolutely. And so there is the APA, the American Psychological Association. I also have to get enough accreditations, enough continuing education. And so really what it allows me to do now is really just continue to focus on working with getting advanced knowledge with veterans, getting advanced knowledge specifically focused on PTSD, anxiety, and depression, simply so I can continue to advocate the best that I possibly can for this population.
So through those organizations and networks that you all are kind of hooked into and connected to, is it safe to assume that some of those situations bring clients to you? or suggest you to their clients, kind of vice versa? Has that become a little bit of a pipeline, if you will?
Yes, through Nova, if a veteran was just searching for a veteran representative, they could go through the Nova website and then they can search for specific state, county, whoever they're looking for representation, which is a great tool. We do get referrals through that. We also get them through just from agent or attorney to we mutually, like if they're some cases they just don't have time to handle, they'll make that referral to us and vice versa. If there's things that are kind of outside of our scope, we have those veteran those attorneys that we know are really good at what they do in that specific field, because not just within VA, but there's discharge upgrades or certain different things that are we just are too small to handle those cases. We will make that referral source to those attorneys and agents to support them that way.
Awesome. Well, with that, we're going to take our next break here on Biz Talk with SCORE on WHBY, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Welcome back to Biz Talk with SCORE. We're talking to Greg and Leah Brittnacher from Freedom's Claims Agency. But before we get back to Greg and Leah, I have an education update I want to give you. As we've talked about many times, if you go to our website at score.org/Northeast Wisconsin, and Northeast Wisconsin's all one word, you'll find a tab called Workshops and Events. And if you go into that tab, you're going to find literally thousands of different webinars that you can listen to and watch to learn a different aspect of business. Some are national. Those normally come with a small cost, $10 or $15. And you can also search for local or regional ones that are free. And again, it's both upcoming events, live webinars, but the recorded ones stay on the site as well. So there's a lot there, but there's two I wanted to mention about around finding your business. The first one is on November 11th at 6:30 Central Time, and it's Learn About Business Lending for New and Existing Small Businesses, and the cost is $10. And the second one is Financing Sources by Stage of Business, and that's on November 10th at 12 o'clock, and that's free. And so, again, one is national, the Learn About Business Lending, the other is regional funding sources. But two different options there to go out and learn more about how you find funding for your business. And there are a lot of other ones out there as well that you can go listen to on our score.org website. But again, it's score.org/Northeast Wisconsin, and it's in the Workshops and Events tab. So with that, we're going to turn back to Greg and Leah. And as I did some research on this topic, one of the things that stood out and made me really understand why veterans could use help is the disability and rating system. Can you talk through that a little bit and explain how it works and what the ratings mean?
Yes. So you went down VA math, as we like to call it. It's its own different set of rules than what it beats Common Core maybe in complexity. So VA. So how the veteran is rated, you start as a whole as 100%, and then each percentage starting with the highest. So if the veteran's rated at 50% for PTSD, then that 50% is taken away. And then you have your remaining good 50% remaining of your body. And then you start doing, he has a service connection for 30% for his neck, cervical spine, whatever that would look like. So then you take 30% minus that, or to that 50%, which puts us at like 75%, which then rounds up to that 80. And you keep on chunking it down until you can get up to 95%, which then rounds up to that 100%. So can be challenging where you'll have veterans say, well, I'm rated at 240%, but I'm only getting paid for being 90%. And it's just that math where you're trying to navigate that piece as well of how to articulate to the veteran, because it's frustration. And for sure, it was like, wow, I'm really messed up, but I still can't get to 100%. And it's just that nuance of how they do math and that structure.
So how do you go about helping the veteran adjust those ratings?
Yes. So if it is within that, if the veteran just got that rating decision back or within the year, we can look at to determine per the medical records and the exams, one, if the exam's accurate, and done correctly, we can try to appeal that, or a different way is just getting new evidence to support the severity to make sure it's getting rated at the correct percentage that it should be. If it's outside of that year window for that potential appeal, then we would be looking at just for a claim for increase. So we'll help the veteran, again, with a personal statement, get medical documentation and help them support them with that claim for increase.
Yeah. So as they put in their initial application, I'm assuming where you're starting to see people come is when they're either denied or get a much lower rate than they expected.
Yes, for us that are accredited reps, VA accredited claims agents or attorneys, that's when we can step in. Is after that initial claim has been filed and that decision came back, that's when we can come and be an advocate. And that's just the way the VA has it, the guidelines and the regulations. For us, that's the rules that we have to play for as accredited reps. Is that's when we can come in and start reviewing the case and help them with those denials, and then, or if they're underrated, what evidence do we need to show that that it needs to be increased? So
is a denial much harder to get turned around than an increase, or are they both the same?
Yeah, a very attorney word. It depends. It just depends on what the denial is and what elements we're missing. Are we missing a diagnosis? If that's it, if we have the event in service, but we don't have a diagnosis, then we know we have to go get a diagnosis of it. Or if we have the first two events, we have an event in service, we have a diagnosis, we're missing the medical nexus. Well, then let's go find a doctor that's willing to look at all of the evidence and render an opinion. It has its challenges as well, depending on the case. And then when you're looking for those increases, a lot of it comes down to is the rater. There's just the human error and how they interpret. I know Leah mentioned it earlier of just doctors and psychologists, they have their language, and if they don't check a box that's correct on the VA loves check boxes. They love their standardized forms. And I don't think and I'll get scolded by Leah, but doctors and psychologists don't like that type of format. And that makes it hard for the rater. So that's where that human element is. And that's us picking out those little errors, or at least, hey, we have evidence here that meets this criteria. It just wasn't checked by the doctor or the psychologist. And that's where we can get those things overturned.
And Greg, I'm going to defend you here a little bit because I still remember 20 years ago coming back to the U.S. for a second time and going on healthcare, and my doctors constantly being asked by the insurance company to resupply the claim because they didn't check the box properly or explain things. So my wife was no longer working, and she was spending a whole lot of time on the healthcare for the kids and getting that approved. So the doctors did hate checking those boxes. Of course, the other side of it was it's an example of governments have to make things or feel they have to make things complex because it's public money and they want to make sure they're protecting it. So you end up with that complexity there.
Mm-hmm.
The total disability rating is that difficult? Is that something that creates a lot of questions when somebody is claiming that?
And when we get to that total disabled, I guess to clarify, the total disabled, like the individual unemployability piece?
Yep. Yes.
Okay. Perfect. So that if the service-connected conditions are what are causing the veteran their inability to maintain gainful employment, then then it really is, it's just doing the correct forms and getting in the correct. But to back it up further, there is a criteria that the veteran first has to meet. They have to have they can have one condition that's rated 60% or higher, or if they have a combined rating of 70%, one of those ratings has to be 40%. Those are the two ways in order to be eligible for that TDIU benefit. And then from there, it's just building getting all the correct documentation put together for the veteran to file that claim.
And how are the maximum level of claims decided? Is that in legislation too, or is it based on previous income? So how much can a veteran claim?
The veteran for the ailments, or are you asking
total disability? Or any disability? What is there income limit on what they can be paid?
No, the VA has that structured of what that rating is, what the total if we're looking at that total disability, individual unemployability, they could be rated at 70%, but they're going to get paid at that max rate of 100%. Whatever the 100% rating and that dollar amount is, that's what that veteran will be paid at. And then they also get all the same benefits as if you were rated as 100% disabled. Although you don't have that number, that TDIU kind of supplements that, where you get all those same benefits. And then that opens the door to like VA dental coverage through the VA, CHAMP VA, which is a health insurance for the dependents and kids. And then also, for the state of Wisconsin, property tax credit as well.
So certainly with the understanding that there is no atypical here, right? Every person that comes to you, everything is so unique and different, right? Completely different. So can you explain, at least try to walk us through from start to finish what that step-by-step process is once they find you guys? How does that process kind of work for what is their journey, so to speak?
Yeah. So the journey starts, they'll reach out to us. We'll have that initial consultation where we just get to know each other. Again, we're both humans. We want to make sure that we're the correct fit for each other. And what helps for us is that I am a veteran. I've been through this claims process. I've gotten those denial letters and wonder like how when I live it. So it's just, we have that on the front end, but then our knowledge of just how to navigate that process. How do we take that denial and get it overturned? So we have that initial consult, and then we make that determination like, yes, let's move forward. There is a VA form that we would complete, and then our fee agreement and how that's structured for us, how we get paid. And then from there, we send that off to the VA. And typically it's about a week to 2 weeks that we'll get full access to the veterans claims file. And that's kind of where I start my process of evaluating the case from when they first filed their claim up to present, just to make sure if there's any errors along the way, we potentially can appeal things that the veteran was unaware of, or if there's things that the veteran never claimed but should have, we'll do those as well, just to make sure that we're the best advocate for them. So and that process, it varies, but it usually is about a week to 2 weeks for me to get through that process. And then we come back on a call and we review it and go through the claim and give them the options. Like, here's what I recommend option. We do a higher level review for this condition. We go to the Board of Veteran Appeals for this condition. And this is our we formulate that game plan. And then we both work together to execute that game plan and what that looks like.
I was just going to add, you guys are definitely then with them every step of the way from that point forward, depending on which option they select, right?
Yes. So throughout that process, or after we submit the appeal to the VA, we will then just be with them, because then they'll start getting scheduled for those new compensation exams. And then we'll just help prepare them for that too. Just more of a comfort. Veterans don't like, we don't go to battle without being prepared. We train. So it's just more of like, walk me through this process so I know what I'm going into. And that's where we help out as well, and just kind of full service all the way till the end until we get that benefit granted. And then it's from there, it's just educating them of what other benefits that are out there and how to navigate that process for them.
Yeah. And talk a little bit about survivor appeals. How do survivors of veterans families, how do they go through this process? Is it very similar? And what are the things they have to think about?
Yes. So it's similar to the veteran. The cause of the veteran's death has to be due to a service-connected condition. So what does that mean? The veteran doesn't have to be service-connected for that injury, but if there's a way that we can tie that cause of death to service, that's deemed a service-connected death. So it's still a same application process that we would do, and they likely would do that with for in this area, the County Veteran Service Office would kind of initiate that process with them. If they get denied, then that's where we can help and help the surviving spouse advocate for them as well, just to try to overturn that decision. And some of them, it could be as simple as a good example would be prior to some legislation change, but the veteran that was deployed to Thailand but worked on the perimeter and did these different jobs where they only were exposed to Agent Orange on the perimeter. At least that's what they said. We were able to get that granted. So died of a Agent Orange presumption, but we were get that overturned and turn that into a grant. So it's just like some things like that. Otherwise, it's just getting the correct medical documentation to support an access to service.
Okay. So coming up on Tuesday, it's in the U.S. Veterans Day. And for me from Canada and somebody who lived in England too, it's Remembrance Day. But do want to say thank you for your service. It's very important for this country for people to do the things you do, and we really do appreciate it.
It was an honor to serve, and thank you, and I appreciate it.
As a veteran and looking at purpose, this business feels like it's so important to you, as not only from a way of providing for family, but for a way of taking people you care about, taking care of people you care about too, and may not know, but want to help. How important has that purpose been in what you're doing?
That is that's my driving force is, us veterans. I know for me personally, I struggled when coming back from deployment and integrating back into civilian life and bounced from job to job, went to school countless times, still in school, now with a purpose. But previously it wasn't until I came across the County Veteran Service Office where I met everything. I get to interact with veterans, and I get to continue to serve. So I get to serve my community, serve the veterans that I served with, and help them navigate this process. So it is near and dear to me, and you're almost going to get me emotional just to talk about it, because it's hearing their story and sharing our stories that's what human connection's all about, is taking that, and then I'm able to take that story, their story, and help them win their case, and it's remarkable.
And Leah, a question for you as we wrap up this segment: is that common when you're dealing with veterans? Is it takes a while for them to really come back and really adapt and adjust, and they need some sort of experience like that to do it?
Well, every veteran kind of adjusts differently, and so it really determines their community, how much they feel comfortable communicating, what did or did not happen while they're at service, what kind of support that they have kind of when they come back. But it really is, you can tell the difference after we are able to help them and we can overturn their denials, just that validation, just that sigh of relief, like you believe me and my service is validated and there's honor to it. So really what we love the most about this is we can get them compensation, and money doesn't buy happiness, but it buys them some freedom and it buys them some time. And so now they have these opportunities where they can live a more fulfilling life. They can finally go get treatment to help themselves. They can be around their kids more. They can go and participate in things that give them value, where their ailments previously have held them back, or their ailments they have to change up their lifestyle. And so it really just allows them this opportunity now to live a fulfilling life and to really find their purpose. Like I think about all these entrepreneurs, it's really helpful to get service connected with their ailments so that they can then go do things that matter to them, open up their businesses, really give them that support that maybe they didn't have before.
Great. We are at the point where we're going to take our final break. You're listening to Biz Talk with Score and WHBY. I'll be right back after these messages. Welcome back. I'd like to thank our sponsors and donors. We couldn't present Biz Talk without their generous support. Thank you to Haling & Associates. Haling & Associates helps small businesses and individuals not just prepare tax returns, but plan for the future. Haling & Associates, personal connection, positive results. Thank you to Johnson Financial Group. Wherever you are in your life or the life of your business, Johnson Financial Group works to understand your goals and match the banking and wealth services needed to help you complete your mission. Thank you to the Business News for promoting our program in the biweekly business newspaper serving Northeast Wisconsin. The paper contains relevant and useful information about the business community in the region. We would like to recognize the David L. and Rita E. Nelson Fund within the Community Foundation for the Fox Valley region for their generous donation to BizTalk and SCORE Northeast Wisconsin. And finally, thank you to New North, a regional marketing and economic development corporation, for their promotion of SCORE. The New North facilitates economic growth and helps people in this region live their best lives. And as we wrap up the show, we'll turn it over to Mary.
Great. Thanks so much, Terry. And yes, just so wonderful to have so many sponsors support this show. And in the same regard, Leah and Greg, I know you have so many people who have supported you all through your first year of business. And what are some of those, before you give your shout outs, what are some of those pivotal lessons that you learned in that first year?
We don't know what you don't know. So
that's a good one.
Just trying to find the right people and where those resources are, and find that community they've walked in the shoes before you, and they've learned those hard life lessons, and reach out to them before you make those hard lessons, and just give you more support that way. So that would be the biggest thing, is being vulnerable to ask those questions. Everyone had to start somewhere, and you might as well use those people that have done it and laid that ground path. Even if it's in a different career field or a different path that you are doing, the same concepts still can apply to what we do.
And then who are some of those people that you want to just shout out to that have kind of helped support you all?
Yes. One of them was the veteran entrepreneur. There was an e-seed program through the Fox Valley Technical College, and that really took this idea, this little small vision, and actually be able to create a business plan and be able to execute that business plan. So it really started there with Amy and Jill over there. They helped me a lot, and then created that small network there. Salute the troops. I was just at another veteran entrepreneur thing where we could network and work on our pitch and just share ideas and continue to drive and continue that focus. The SCORE, as you guys as well. Your webinars have been helpful with something that it's foreign to me is marketing, and just be able to join those free services. It's fabulous. And then your chambers, Heart of the Valley, Appleton Chamber, those chambers there, you meet other small businesses and can pick their brains as well, who they use and why they use them, and a great source of wealth of knowledge.
Well, hopefully this episode served as a informational, but maybe even a connection point. Someone out there listening that is a veteran themselves, knows a veteran, is going through some of those struggles that you've talked through during this episode that you've seen and heard from your clients. And hopefully this serves as a helpful point to them. But in case someone is out there or needs to connect someone to you, what are the best ways that they can do that? Websites, phone number, social media, obviously. What are some of those ways they can connect?
Yes. So our website is, that's where you're going to get all the information in regards to how to contact us, email address. You can book an appointment right on my calendar through the website. Phone number is 920-579-4032. And then we obviously social media, primarily on Facebook, and we do have a LinkedIn account as well, but Facebook. One of the big things that we like to share is not only just the benefit piece of it, but also just the connecting within the military community. On Wednesdays, we always try to highlight a veteran service organization that's doing great within our community or throughout the country as well, and just highlighting those veteran resources are out there. So if a veteran who is looking for that purpose, if it's hunting, fishing, whatever that organization does that we highlight, like they're always willing to accept those veterans that are missing that connection. So hopefully it's a call to action to them to see something that they like and maybe go out and try to participate in those activities as well.
Okay. Thank you very much. It was great to have you on. Really appreciate hearing about the agency. It's something that's very important for people to learn more about. You've been listening to Biz Talk with SCORE. Join us again next week for our next show. Thank you.